Scotland is kind of a toxic dump at this point, and I don't mean toxic dump as in the area is unlikable to be in because of the environment or something. No, it's a toxic dump because the toxic waste in question is progressive policies, and these progressive policies are being enacted. So here's the first thing. This is the story. Scottish 4-year-olds can change gender at school without parents' consent.
Right.
I mean, a joke. A kind of thing the Babylon Bee would have written, I don't know, a month ago? It's
Just the very nature of that sentence is driving me mad. I can see a red mist descending, and so I'm going to just enhance my calms.
I'm going to make it worse. Let's go to Labour subreddit real quick, and then we'll be right back to check out the article. So the Labour subreddit is something I love to keep up with, as I've mentioned, and someone posted this in there, which I wasn't expecting, because they don't usually post stuff that makes them look bad. And
maybe they don't even realise it makes them look bad. That's how far down the rabbit hole they are.
Yes, because the responses were amazing. So if we go to the next image here, you can see someone asking, surely 4 is a tad young to change your name and gender?
I can't wait for a Scottish register composed primarily of Spider-Mans and Elses. That's exactly what you're going to get.
But anyway, this is a dissenter, a bad comrade, new user, probably a Tory. So let's see what the established users had to say about all of this. Why? You're old enough at 16, and my God, I was stupid at 16.
You're stupid now.
I was stupid at 4 too. So why being stupid is good enough reason to
being stupid is why you should change your gender. Because look at all these idiots. They're not going to change their gender if they're not stupid. What an amazing admission that is. It's like, we need stupid people to buy into our ideology because smart people won't do it.
Verified Labour member as well, as you can see. But you're old enough to know who you are at 4.
What? Okay, look, right, as a dad who's raised children through the age of 4 and up, they're not.
And you're old enough to do something completely reversible at 4.
Okay. It's not completely reversible. And no, you're not.
And also, if he's talking about not chopping off your genitals, well, then he's also going to be arguing that you can do that at 16, therefore why not at 4? His argument still stands, which is absurd. Seems to me that it'll do no harm at all.
Oh, well, if it seems the pie-eating bastard on the Labour subreddit, then go ahead. He clearly knows all about this.
There's a small group of people it might greatly help.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
There was also the response I saw on there from loads of members just typing based. So if we go to the next one, you can see here. Gotta admit, pretty based. Based? Based on what? Based. This is their response. This is their response to 4-year-olds being able to change their gender in schools without the parents' consent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go back to the article. I
Yep.
thought we'd just enjoy that so you know the kind of lunatics we're dealing with. Newly inclusive guidelines say teachers should not question pupils, but instead ask them for their name and pronouns.
Their new name and pronouns.
The 4-year-olds. Children as young as 4 will be able to change their name and gender at school without parents' consent under the new LGBT inclusive guidelines drawn up by the Scottish Government.
They're insane.
A 70-page document issued to schools. Why does it have to be 70 pages? Just every time there's leftist ideology, it's always a brick, isn't it?
Yep.
Issued in schools north of the border on Thursday, calls on teachers not to question pupils if they say that they want to transition to live as a boy or a girl, and instead ask them for their name and pronouns.
That's right.
The child.
Yeah.
These.
This 4-year-old.
Yeah. I also love the idea that they're saying, well, a boy and girl, what happened to non-binary? What happened to demigender?
Wow, yeah, good question.
The other rest of them. I suppose the brick's already 70 pages. We don't need to be at 400, but whatever. The controversial guidance claims that it is possible to come out as transgender at any age. That's a quote. And that the views of young people should be respected if they do not want their parents to be informed.
Just want to say, is that the views of young people should be respected? No, under all circumstances.
4-year-olds, especially.
Yeah, well, just the views of young people are dumb.
But just the 4-year-old tells you, I'm a boy, as you say, you're 4.
Yeah. Tomorrow, you'll be a car.
The Scottish Government wrote these guidelines. The SNP, the fruitcake progressives, and the Labour Party couldn't see anything wrong with this.
They're acting as if 4-year-olds can be moral and intellectual legislators, as if they know anything, which they don't.
They also say Scotland schools have also been told that trans pupils should be able to use whatever lavatory or changing room they choose to develop gender-neutral uniform options. I presume that's just trousers for everyone.
Well, yeah, very much gender-neutral.
And to include transgender characters and role models in reading material and lessons.
Because if they didn't artificially insert this into the curriculum, it wouldn't be present.
No,
because transgender people are like 0.05% of the population.
But also, I have some real-world experience of how this works, which is that what will end up happening is there's some books which are just political activism made for kids by weirdos, and no one's going to buy them. So what do? They make the state enforce that you must buy them.
Because otherwise, no one's going to see them.
Yeah, so that person gets a load of royalties. Yeah, funny that.
Taxpayer money.
A weird leftist gets loads of money out of the state from this. Oh, how did that happen? I'm sure that was a mistake. The LGBT advocacy groups, such as Stonewall, which helped draw up the guidance.
What a shock.
Welcomed the move and claimed the rules would help all children to thrive.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure those children who are going to, who would otherwise have led perfectly normal lives in the gender binary, are now going to be essentially demented by all of the stuff that they're going to be taught by the authority figures around them, not know who they are, and aren't going to be deeply confused at all.
Just to mention, Stonewall are subsidized by the Conservative government. The Conservative government that has been in charge for 15 years, running on 16 now, still giving them money. You can see here the story. Stonewall receives £1 million a year of taxpayers' money to offer guidance in should be in quotes, on issues such as transgenderism. The controversial LGBT charity received almost $500,000 from the NHS. And then there's everyone else as well, the House of Commons, the DVLA. I think the MOD paid them money for guidance on pronouns. And this is why you end up with the RAF talking about total inclusivity and saying that you need to use ze/her pronouns.
Conservatives, you don't have to allow this to happen. You can stop this from happening. You can just put a moratorium on taxpayer money going to activist groups.
I mean, not to mention just the insanity in general, but also you should be defunding all kinds of these.
I mean, it's literally just a missive you can sign and send out.
Yeah, but it's also just a massive waste of money if they weren't doing this stuff as well. Anyway, but let's go to the financial statement. So on page 23 on here, I don't know if you can get to it, they have the funding for them. And in the section of funding that is committed, or whatever they call it, restricted funds, you can see the precise amount the government gives them, £1,046,568. Precisely. There you go.
That's my money, goddammit.
That's your money that went into the coffers of Stonewall. Their financial statement 2019. God knows what it was for 2020 and all other years around this. What's interesting, though, is it makes up 12% of all of their funding, 12.5%. It's government subsidized. And
I can't have noticed they make over £3 million in fees. Fees to various probably private institutions who are paying them for protection money.
Diversity is big business. They also have a net end-of-year statement of £808,000 as their net profit.
So they're a profitable business.
Very profitable. But you see they're only really profitable there because of the government grant. If you take away the £1,046,000, they're actually losing £200,000 a year.
Which is how it should be.
Yes. So this is why Liz Truss is the golden girl. I mean, the perfect person who should be put in charge of the entire country at this point. Lord Protector of against wokeism. So Liz Truss urges official withdrawal from Stonewall diversity scheme of all government departments. Remember this. And the reason given at the time was that the Times understands that responsibility for coordinating participation in the scheme rests with the Cabinet Office, not her, which is unfortunate, but the Cabinet Office essentially being run by Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. Why haven't they done this?
No idea.
Like, you've got one of your ministers here, a sound one,
yes,
soundly advising you to do a thing,
yes,
and hasn't been done, which kills me. The scheme counts 250 government departments and public bodies with its 850 members, which pay for guidance on issues such as pronouns and gender-neutral spaces.
You could pay me for that guidance. I'll take that money,
I'll give you £1.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it for literally £1. I'll do it as a public service, in fact. And trust me, it will be much more popular with the public.
Nancy Kelly, its chief executive, came under fire at the weekend for likening gender-critical beliefs to anti-Semitism. This was the perfect opportunity to defund them.
What?
So, do you remember this?
No.
Remember? So, Kelly said, although Stonewall believed in freedom of speech...
oh, yeah, but...
Although, it was not without a limit.
Oh, there we go.
She told the BBC, with all beliefs, including controversial beliefs, there is a right to express those beliefs publicly, and where they're harmful or damaging, whether it's anti-Semitic beliefs, gender-critical beliefs, beliefs about disability, we have legal systems that are put in place for people who are harmed by that.
Right.
Harmed by gender-critical beliefs.
So going out in the street and yelling the Holocaust was a good thing, we should do it again, is the same as saying woman means adult human female.
According to Stonewall.
Amazing.
So all the other nonsense they charge you for and that, the people in charge are just nuts. They are insane leftists. Perfect opportunity to defund them.
That's so stupid.
Destroy a leftist institution. Option 6.
What beliefs about disability? I mean, what are you talking about?
I don't know who's anti-disabled. Like, I don't know who's doing that. Like, even the neo-Nazis don't. I suppose actually with eugenics, that's
Well, I
technically
suppose,
true.
yeah, great.
There's that, but
you mean if the only position of opposition to a thing is neo-Nazism, you don't have to worry about opposition to it.
yeah, they don't exist in Britain. They're
Exactly.
nothing burger.
They're prescribed. We don't have to care about what they think.
But no, they're just as bad as Posey Parker. Posey Parker, Hitler, basically the same.
Women are a thing. Yes, you're a Nazi.
Let's go back to the article with Scotland. But there's I was talking about the book club we did, the Long March to the Institutions.
Yeah.
Conservatives, option 6 in there, that's a perfect example.
Yes.
It is a structurally leftist institution that you have the power to defund and destroy financially because you're the ones giving them £1 million every year.
Yeah.
I just can't get over it. Anyway, so the...
and literally, as you have shown, if the government didn't give them money, they wouldn't be able to exist as they are.
they'd be unprofitable.
Yeah.
£200,000 in the hole every year.
Yeah.
If they continued. So the quote from the article about the 4-year-olds again. Campaigners claimed a dangerous ideology was being pushed into schools and warned that children who displayed normal behavior, such as playing with toys stereotypically associated with the other sex, risked being wrongly labeled a transgender.
Yep.
So true there. Kids.
Oh yeah, they're looking for anything, no matter how tenuous. Say, oh, actually, this is a transgender child. You know that they're doing this.
Which is why Stonewall gets joked as the organization that claims that there are no gays anymore. Every gay is transgender. Which, is obviously ridiculous, but it's an example.
I remember this being framed as essentially an attack on lesbians.
Yes. Like a bunch of gays and lesbians were like,
autistic girls.
You can't claim that there are no more gay and lesbian children.
Yeah,
and they've all
just
become
trans.
transgender.
No,
it's not
nonsense.
So, For Women Scotland gave a statement on this. So, it shows a failure in safeguarding and a removal of parental rights.
Yep.
It used to be commonly understood that children should be able to play and experiment with gender roles, with clothing, their likes and dislikes.
Without some ideological activist group coming along and trying to inject hormone delaying chemicals into their bodies and things like that.
Well, that's where you're wrong, kiddo. Brave new world now. Those children are now being encouraged on a medical pathway, potentially for the rest of their lives. We should not be teaching children, and especially primary school children, that you can change sex, because you can't change sex.
True.
True.
And not even the contention from the LGBT activist lobby is that you can change sex. You can change gender.
Oh, I mean, occasionally they do slip up and claim it.
Well,
so,
yeah.
That is the case.
They forget their own distinctions.
Yeah. The guidance also includes a recommended reading list for primary schools.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I bet that's good.
Designed to promote trans inclusivity and calls for posters which challenge gender stereotypes to be put in classrooms. It sounds like a joke. We're going to put our political posters in the classroom to change the kids' minds about transgender.
Literally to undermine their understanding of what it is to be a boy and a girl.
Who's getting paid to do that as well? There'll be some other useless artist
in
a leftist university who hasn't got a job. He's not going to get a load of tax money to print posters. I mean, literal propaganda posters. I mean, not even political parties make propaganda posters anymore.
No.
Those are long since gone.
And they certainly wouldn't be allowed to put them up in the schools.
In the classroom. Specifically, as they say, to influence the kids' minds.
Imagine if you had posters of Boris Johnson with Vote Conservative underneath it in the primary schools.
If they're going to do it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why not? But it would look like North Korea. It would look like, the Chinese regime, It would be unacceptable in Britain.
One book included tells a story about a blue crayon which suffers an identity crisis because it was mistakenly labeled a red crayon.
That's a really stupid analogy, because a blue crayon is essentially blue, as in the blueness of it is unquestionable, but if you have to, it doesn't have to go through some sort of transition to show people it's a red crayon or something. It is essentially blue.
It just changes the wrapper on it, which would mean that it's just changing clothes, would be the human example.
Or the label, but the redness of it is there. But then why would you need surgery or hormone treatments or anything like that if you were essentially that thing already?
It would be a red crayon who decides it's blue and then re-dyes itself or something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Another features a primary school-aged narrator who says she has, quote, a girl brain but a boy body, and claimed she knew that she was transgender as a toddler.
Brainwashing. Pure brainwashing. No kids care about this.
When I was 2, I knew I was transgender.
Yeah.
But then that brings up the question as well. Why stop before?
Well, yeah. Why not?
Want to go to 2? 1.
And the thing
0.
is, there are loads of psychological studies that show that kids just don't have these levels of self-awareness when they're that age.
No.
And again, as a parent, any parent will be able to tell you they're not really that self-aware.
No. They continue in here. The character claims, quote, pretending I was a boy felt like telling a lie until, quote, an amazing day when she went to a doctor who diagnosed her as transgender.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a story, but yeah,
but no, it's not a story, is it? Because it's a real thing that happens with, what's the Tavistock clinic? They're just telling everyone, yeah, you're just transgender after, what was it, 2 meetings?
Yeah.
Let's get to the surgery, folks. It's like, yeah, this isn't rushed at all. The guidance has been published ahead of a new school year in Scotland and weeks after Richard Branson's eldest daughter, Holly, revealed she had lived as a boy between the ages of 4 and 10, only to revert back to her female identity.
So when puberty starts kicking in, she realised, actually, I feel like a girl.
Mm.
Because apparently it's something like 90% of children who claim to be transgender just revert to their normal gender identity upon puberty.
They mention in here later on that studies show that the vast majority of children revert to their biological sexual identity if untreated.
Yeah.
So if you don't interfere, the children just revert back to what they are because they are what they are.
Because yeah, exactly. I mean, puberty has that kind of affirming way of changing your view on the world.
Mm. So if we go to the next link here, this is the guidance. So if you want to go and read through it in your own time, there's just one thing in here I read through that I thought was really funny. So they advise the teachers, don't say it's just a phase, as this can diminish the importance of the issue for the young person.
Sure.
The 4-year-old who's like, I want to wear a dress today. Don't say that's just a phase. No, that's permanent. He's going to wear that dress every damn day of his life from now on. 4 and up. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Ask what name and pronoun should you use to address them, the 4-year-old. Check if it's all the time or in certain circumstances.
I can't imagine that a 4-year-old knows what a pronoun is.
Or that they have certain times of the day where it changes.
Yeah. But I would be shocked if any 4-year-old actually knew what the definition of the word pronoun is.
Yeah. They also end this section with, don't agree to anything you're not sure of. Seek further information and support for yourself and the young person if needed. And I'm just like, anyone coming to this is unsure of the crap you're promoting.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't do anything we're unsure of, and we shouldn't do anything you're promoting.
I tell you, parents in Scotland, if this isn't enough to get you up and protesting this at the schools, then nothing will be.
Scotland might be a lost cause if nothing is done in response to this kind of stuff. So if we go back to the article, there's just some stuff I wanted to end on here. Despite a prominent Scottish lawyer, Adrian O'Neill, recently writing a legal opinion which argued a school supporting a child's wish to switch gender without informing the parents was potentially illegal, teachers have been urged to respect children's wishes.
No!
Children's wishes.
No, the children should be dressed normally, sat in class, and be taught whatever lesson they're being taught.
No, she's a princess. She says so. We must take her to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, exactly. No. Children need structure and guidance, not this kind of interference.
Quote from the document again, a transgender young person may not have told their family about their gender identity. So inadvertently disclosure could cause needless stress for the young person or could put them at risk and breach legal requirements.
Oh, really?
Therefore, it is in the best interest to not share the information with the parents or carers without considering and respecting the young person's views and rights. The 4-year-old's right to insist that at school I'm a girl, but at home...
If I found out that the school had been keeping any of this kind of stuff from me, I would be furious.
Should be. So we'll just end with a statement from the SNP because...
Oh, good, yeah.
Why not? So, the SNP Education Secretary denied that the guidance promoted transitioning. What a liar. What an obvious liar.
Yeah.
Quote, we know transgender young people can face many issues in schools and that teachers and staff must have the confidence and skills to support their mental, physical, and emotional health. Then leave them alone.
Yeah.
Leave them the goddamn alone if you care about their health.
Just talk to them normally.
This guidance outlines how schools can support transgender young people while ensuring that the rights of all pupils are fully respected. And yet you wanted, what was it? The no sanctions on who can go into these places. Also the parents' rights and feelings, I suppose.
Concerns for the fact that a bunch of left-wing bureaucrats are interfering with the biological and gender understanding that their own child has of themselves. I think that's cause for concern.
She ends this with, it provides schools with practical suggestions, such as telling a 4-year-old child, yes, you are a girl because you wore a dress today. And for the rest of your life, you shall also be a girl.
You played with a Barbie, you're definitely a girl.
That's it. You're done. There's no going back.
It's unbelievable.
I love the idea. It's almost like hyper in reverse, where it's like if you touch a Barbie, that's it. You're gay.
You're a gay.
That's the position of the SNP.
If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 PM UK time on lotuseaters.com.